Hey, what's up everybody? It's DisThunder, and today we're going to take a look at the Mezco 112 Collective SummerCon exclusive Casey Jones figure. Now, you don't need me to tell you that this was a difficult figure to get your hands on. This was a royal pain in the ass, but to do a video about that would be kind of boring. So instead, I'm going to come back to that later, and instead we'll talk a little bit about Casey Jones. Then, of course, later we'll talk some more about Casey Jones, the figure. But as far as the character goes, his first appearance was back in 1985 as part of the Raphael one-shot. He was also an Eastman Laird creation, as you would expect. He played a rather pivotal role in the original TMNT comic series. Probably could easily be considered one of, the 6 or 7 main characters of the story. This came as a bit of a surprise to me because I was first introduced to Casey Jones as part of the 88 Fred Wolf TV series, where he plays a very minor role. In fact, he has no real connection to Raphael or to April or any of the things that we would know him from in the comics, which I found out a little bit later. If the Turtles are a riff on Daredevil, then Casey would be a riff on the Punisher, displaying borderline homicidal tendencies and a lust and zeal for violence that makes even Raphael blush. Although through the course of the comics, he actually mellows quite a bit, and toward the end of the 4th volume, when the series kind of ends, he's a lot more wholesome character than he was when he started out. One of the things that makes Casey so iconic has to be his choice in weaponry, and truly, you have never seen a more shoddily put together arsenal than this set right here. These are absolutely beautiful. You have 2 wooden bats, one that's broken, an aluminum bat, cricket bat, either an iron wedge or a 9-iron. Sorry, I don't golf. A goalie stick, and then, of course, his trusty hockey stick. And they all have excellent wear, metallic details, wrap. If you took them outside of the setting here and set them up appropriately, they look like the real thing. To carry those weapons around, he has this excellent soft goods golf bag that's complete with stitching and like repair stitching and a cross strap. And also, kind of a clever inclusion, he has goalie gloves, one for left and one for right, with the appropriate hand. They just replace the regular hands and then slide over the forearms. Give him a little bit of extra protection. Casey comes with 3 optional head sculpts, 2 of them appropriately enough masked. This is the clean one, and I feel like it's a nice blend of comic and realism, kind of maybe leaning a little more into the comic side with the whited out eyes. Regardless, I appreciate this avenue as opposed to doing a removable mask, which probably just wouldn't line up right, no matter how you put it on there. Then you have this excellent unmasked head with his mullet and his feathered hair and smirk on his face. I don't think I've ever seen a Casey Jones head that represents 1980s Mirage Comics as well as this one does. And then lastly, you have a battle damage mask, which gives it a little bit more personality. This may be my preference of the 2, just because it is a little bit more Casey to have such worn-in weaponry and equipment. But like I said, walks the line very nicely in a very comic book, almost animated style. Let's talk articulation, because this appears to be an all-new body sculpt for Casey, and I am a big fan so far. Starting with the head, it is a double joint. There's a barbell joint in there, smaller barbell than usually with Mezco necks. That will make head swaps a little difficult if you were so inclined, but it works fine and allows for a pretty good range of motion on that top joint. Other one goes into the collar. You can see he does have butterfly joints, but they don't seem to really give me much range of movement, which honestly is fine because the shoulder is excellent and the biceps are outstanding. There's an excellent range of motion all the way through the arms. Thanks to the baggy cloth goods, we can actually take a look under here and see his torso joint, and then there is a waist joint as well. And these 2 waist joints, again, the range on these is excellent. I'm sure the sweatpants and the cutoff shirt help out in that category, but just excellent stuff. And that, of course, will continue down to the waist, where we've got a good range out, forward, to the side. Any side kick, front kick you want to do, he can pull off. Double jointed knees that come up almost all the way. And you've got a nice kind of universal swivel on his shoes, which also have excellent detail and tread detailing on them. Overall, this is probably one of my favorite of the new Mezco bodies we've seen this year. Moving over into comparisons, here he is with the Mezco Leo and the NECA movie Splinter. And as you can see, the scaling on these is exactly what I was hoping for, which shouldn't be a big surprise, but having so many turtles with so many weird scales, it's wonderful to have something that actually scales like it's supposed to. As we continue on here, you've got Donatello and Mikey next to him. Donnie being the tallest of the turtle, coming right up about to his shoulder blade, which seems perfect to me. I'm sure there's some purists that would prefer them to be closer to 4 foot, but I feel like this just feels better, especially in a collection with mixed stuff like I have. As example, again, here's Raphael just to kind of finish off the set. And these 2, by default have to look good together, and I think they do perfectly, really. Here he is with the Loyal Subjects Krang and my custom shredder. That Krang figure is probably the best of the entire Loyal Subjects line, which, you don't need me to tell you is kind of a mixed bag. But if you wanted to use turtles from that line, I think these will scale just fine. That would also carry over to Super 7, although I don't have those any longer either. I kept Metalhead, and I think he's pretty close in size. So again, I think this is comparable if you prefer the Super 7 turtles or, that's what you run with. I think this Casey Jones will work with those as well. And lastly, here he is with Supreme Knight Batman, who he kind of surprised me with because he's nearly the same height. Obviously, Supreme Knight is quite a bit bulkier, but that would put him in terms of like 112 scale. He's roughly 6'2", which is fine for me, but I just want to make you aware of it. Regardless, I'm going to keep him with the turtles in my custom lair. While you could definitely do the Toon Turtles if you prefer them, I feel like the Mirage styling, this is the group that I want to have. And now I'm hoping that these guys can get me in April so I don't have to try to make one myself. So in closing, man, I really hope Mezco finds a way to do another release for Casey, be it, put him in a 3-piece suit or do the American flag deco on his hockey mask. I honestly don't care because I'll buy him again, and everybody really needs to have a shot at owning this guy because he is a must-have for anybody who collects turtles, Mezco or otherwise. And while I am always appreciative to Mezco Toys for doing an outstanding job on a figure, which I hope we get to see a lot more of, not just Casey, but I want to see this base body used for some other stuff. I'm kind of hoping this might end up being the future Nightwing body or something. It's just too good not to use for other characters. But in this case, I also have to give a special thanks to friend of the channel and fellow Mezco reviewer Batbomb82. Anthony was kind enough to reach out to me on my birthday of all days and secured me a figure since I wasn't able to get one on release day. I can't thank him enough for it, and definitely go give his channel some love if you have some time. Hell, you probably subscribed to him already if you're subscribed to me. But in any case, thank you all for coming through and watching the review. Hope you found it informative, and I hope that you too can get your hands on a Casey Jones because he is damn cool. We'll talk again soon.